I know what you're looking at. You're looking at this young man with a Confederate flag. And I know you're saying this man has to be confused. Because who does that? What black person do you know that just puts up a Confederate flag knowing the history of that Confederate flag? Now, but we need to go deeper than that. I want to go deeper into just looking at the picture and say, look at that man. Look at that young, confused man. I want to go beyond that. Because, see, when I do videos, I like to go beyond the exterior of what we just see with our naked eyes. I like to go in and say, what caused that? See, what causes things like this is when we don't take our time out to teach our children history. This is what happens when we're too busy doing other things. This is what happens when we don't feel we have an obligation to teach our children their history. Wrong. Every black person has the obligation to teach their children history. You owe that to the ancestors. You owe that to history itself. You owe that to your children as being a black person in America. You should teach your kids their history. There should be a history book in every black home in America. We should be taught everything about ourselves because we don't know a lot about ourselves as much as it is today. So our children really need to know and really need to understand this information. Because if they don't get that information, first of all, they will be raised by a European philosophy. They'll know more about Columbus than they know about Malcolm X or any other black leader. They will know more about historical American values, which we all know what that really stands for. They will know more about school curriculum in American history than they'll know about their own. Because when they're going to school, they're being taught American history. So if you don't combat that and show them what the real history really looks like, their perception of history is going to be what they learn in school. So basically what I'm saying is, brothers and sisters, we can't let the system raise our children. Because if we just let the system raise our children, and if we just let the system educate our children, this is what the results is going to be. This is the result of somebody that didn't take the time out to sit their child down and say, son, this is history. This is our history. This is our roadmap. This is what happened, and this is what it's all about. Because if you don't, which I'm starting to see a generation of black young people that don't know their history. And it's not because they're not learning it. It's because no one is teaching it to them. So this is not a coincidence. What we have to do as parents, we have to look more into what our kids are doing. And we can't keep letting PS3 and PS4 video games and American school systems, we can't keep letting that raise our children and expect them to grow up with black conscious thinking. If we just let America raise our children, they just won't know who they are. And they'll relate more to them than they relate to us. So understand, it's your obligation to teach your children history. Get off Facebook, take a night off from going to the club, and teach your children history. In that way, they won't pop up in pictures looking like this. This right here will become the new generation if we don't teach our children history. If we don't teach them history, they're not going to know who they are. I'm going to make sure that my kids know their history. I'm going to make sure that that is the first thing they learn before they even learn their ABCs. I'm going to make sure they know their history. And if you do that, if you teach your children their history, because it's your obligation to do that, then you will never have to worry about them showing up in pictures looking like this. One love. Like, subscribe. Peace.